There's always what I call the FIFA script. The FIFA script. Referees play to it. So football today is more business. Yes, the FIFA will never tell you they indulge in biases, but they do. They don't want a team like Argentina to fall out because those are they wouldn't what I call the guardians of the game. FIFA or any organizer doesn't want what the host country today. I am happy that in my write-ups I predicted the four teams that will qualify for the semi-finals, and I got it right. Insecurity for broadcasters. Tomorrow, he said, you have said this, you have written this, they come and arrest you. We are happy it has not happened much in recent years because the likes of Shugures and who are very interested in investigative journalism will all have been captured and put under restriction. It hasn't happened. We pray that it continues to continue like that. But in particular in the military region, you did something and you are arrested. I have fallen a victim to it before. We had to go face courts. My reporter, the man who is today the CEO of RAIL, was my reporter. I was the editor. He did the story on government, cars, and the arrest. I mean, he didn't arrest us. He put charges to court, and we had to face it. So these things, they don't encourage. You look at it, your wife can even tell you, yes. But yes, shall not make kind. So we might not get there in time until government stabilizes things and let everybody know that the journalist is doing what he's paid to do, and we must all encourage them. What is happening today, Bajamia, Bajamila, Adeni, or whatever his name is, in a true sense of serious journalism, there should have been some journalists who would have known what happened, would have dug into it. But today, what everybody is saying is very peripheral. Adeni is said they are just banding the two together. What is the substance? Who did what? Did Adeni actually meet Benjamin Miller? Did Benjamin Miller do what we have said? Somebody, some journalists will have gone into that. But everybody is afraid of his or her life to some extent. To some extent.
Talking about people that are afraid of their life, we do thank God that those that were kidnapped and then we really good government area are back.
We want to comment
in their
government for that.
governments. So, what's your take about that? It took them some 56 days for those persons to get back their freedom. And unfortunately, some 24 or 32 hours later, we got the news that another person had been kidnapped in the same Oyo state. What's your look about this kidnapping space and all of that?
Kidnapping has become an industry in Nigeria.
How do you know?
I mean that it is money making. When you were young and when I was also young, in the 70s and whether it was, what we call it, armed robbery. Armed robbery.
Yes.
The Yunusis of this world,
The
yes.
and the lights.
Because get that and get your money quick. But today, many things have happened. The police have been improved. They can also fire and fire. And very importantly, banking has come to take. People don't carry money on their trips anymore. In those days, 30 years ago, if you wanted to buy 500,000, 1 million, you needed to carry the money. And in these buses that used to ply between Lagos and they will get a policeman or two on the car, but it didn't solve it. But today, kidnapping does it. That's why I say it's an industry. They get their money quickly. The people pay ransom in millions. I'm not saying it is right, and I'm not saying we should go on like that. But we must situate it. Today, the average young man who leaves secondary school or university cannot get a job too. Because of that, if he has been badly trained, he moves, allows the devil to train him, he moves into industries like that. And by the time they do one operation and he's able to get 500,000 as a young boy, he feels it's a lucrative job and he must be doing it. So it is for government. We will put everything at the doorstep of the government. You have to find a way of finding solution to it. That's why we elected them. I know that many of these oppositional leadership will also put their mouth in it. But how many of them, I'm not saying this for anybody, but they are all Nigerian politicians. We have seen people come, governors come. There was a Buhari, there was a Jonathan, there was Obasanjo. Yes, the seasons are different. When Obasanjo was there, Ambodru was the in thing. Today, it is kidnapping. Unless and until we realize that we cannot do this job by ourselves, we may be plodding on like this. What Nigeria needs is to consistently invite the developed nations to come and assist us. We are afraid, many Nigerians are afraid that when you allow the US or the Britain or the developed country to step on your soil, they have the tendency of looking for something else. In our circumstance today, we have to close our eyes to that. Our people who must be enjoying the good things of life that God has given to us are getting killed. Must we watch on like that and allow them to be killed? Many of these ones who are killed, if you knew them, they would be very, very highly resourceful people. Highly resourceful people in their different operations. They are gone. Look at the teacher who they had to slaughter from Ori. You don't know. I think he was a mathematics teacher also. That somebody like that can become a genius in the future. So government must sit up and ensure that the people need security. I'm happy the police bill is passing through and we are focused on it, but we must not corrupt that system. It is because Nigeria has a tendency to corrupt every system. We have corrupted the national police. We have corrupted every aspect of life. To some extent, there is corruption even in the army. That's why, the military, I should say, that is why you find soldiers kicking against the establishment, doing things against, some of them going to give,
Information or
yes,
arms.
because so much is wrong with our nation. And government must sit up and deal with this. You shouldn't bother yourself about who is involved. If he's the son of a Kabiyesi, a sultan, a minister, deal with them the way the law says.
All right, quickly, sir, because our time is fast and we have less than 3 minutes to get us out of here. What's your view about state policing? And like you mentioned, we are hoping they won't get to be corrupted like what we have at the national level. Do you think it is the right thing at this point? Or do you think we should still wait? Because persons are saying it might be used for other means, including state governors using it for their own personalities and all of that.
Does the federal government use it for their own personal? Yes, you can say it is a question of yes or no. It doesn't matter. That should not be a stumbling block. The real thing is that when the guy who comes from Osun State is given assignment in Ejibo, one way or the other, you will have known Ejibo. But you bring somebody from Kafanchan who has never heard of, all he knows is Osun State. He doesn't know, maybe he knows Ife and Oshogo. He doesn't know anywhere else. So it is important for us to forget about that. Would you say the president or the presidency uses police to guard election? Yeah, it is a question of it's not neither here nor there. Yes, time was when the Obasanjos of this world conquered the southwest using the Nigerian police politically. But It's just one out of many.
He served as the director of OSBC News and Current Affairs Department. He did serve as a journalist, and he is still a journalist, but he did serve as a journalist for BCOS. He will be telling us the particular sector that did interest him. Our guest for today is someone who has seen a whole lot and can actually tell you even about the history of Nigeria, as he is older than Nigeria. So I'll get to ask him which country he is from. He is over 70 years of age. And having retired from active service, he is retired, but he is still not tired. He has delved into quite a number of things, and one of that is being an event compared. The one you call MC. He writes, and he is a publisher. Ladies and gentlemen, with me in the studio is the veteran known as Smollett and Detoye Shitsu Omokbenu Alamu. I decided to add the Omokbenu because we will be talking about that. But join me as I welcome my guest. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Tolu. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good morning, the listener at home. Good morning, everybody who has the opportunity to listen to this program. I will begin before you fire your salvos. I want to commend this station and congratulate you, particularly I can call him my professional son. The general manager is a professional son, Dili Bakari. I'm not surprised that he's heading a place like this. And I count myself very lucky. So when he told me to come, I did not hesitate. Because today, by the grace of God, I have several people who are holding and manning organizations like this. And I'm always thrilled and privileged to come to them when they need my services. So my prayer is that Agogo FM will go places and you sooner than later become the kind day who really becomes the typo in the Yoruba Palace.
Amen.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir, for the kind words. Let's get back to your name. Two names have actually drawn my interest among all of those names.
Yeah.
Smollett and Omokwen.
Okay, I have been in broadcasting for over 51 years. I joined broadcasting in January 1975. So I am still counting. This is my 52nd year.
Yeah.
So I've come a long way in that process. But then, Omakwenino Ola, if I want to pronounce it in full, it's because my mother tells me I spent 2 gestation periods in her womb, which was true. May not have been exactly because she was illiterate, she couldn't have counted, but incidents that happened make me believe that truly, I must have overspent more than the normal gestation period of 9 months. According to her, I spent 2. So while I don't want to say it was 18 months, I say anything in the neighborhood of 15, 16 months I must have stayed. Because her pregnancy was about 6 months old when catastrophe started coming, and she had to do it in the way they used to do it in the olden days. So she went to traditionalists, she went here, she went there, and then they told her the child will still come, but somebody was holding him, and it is a he. They told her it's a he, and they don't want him to come. The good thing is that I come from a very polygamous, large polygamous family. My father had officially 13 wives, and he also had concubines. I'm not ashamed. I've written books to elucidate this.
Okay.
That was what happened. So one of them did not like my car. Maybe she had seen that I was going to be a star, and so she tried to. But the good thing, when God is on one side, my mother was then an innocent. It was the 10th wife. My mother was the 10th wife.
out of this. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So eventually, I came out. The woman died before I was born. I was born in December. The woman died around October. So this is how my parent comes in from. So when my mother told me, I became interested in that name and started using it. So, but I put it in the middle. It's a sequential name. You have to
Yeah.
pronounce it correctly. If you don't do it, you get it wrong. Smollett, Adetoyeshe. There are many. I've also Adeshola. And some people call me, what do you call it? Bidemi, because my father was not in when I was born. There had been a prophecy that the old man would not be in, because if he were in, he would have taken me to the hospital or taken my mother to the hospital, and anything could have happened. But 3 days before my mother went into labor, and my mother went into labor for 3 days.
Wow.
Yes, the third day was very early, by 5 o'clock in the morning. But in the evening of the earlier day, she had fallen into labor, and she couldn't deliver. The full day came, and the third day came. So I'm a child of circumstances.
That is so obvious. So, talking about all of this and looking at all of that background, what's your education background like?
Well, what do I say? I'm a graduate, and I went to primary school, I went to secondary school, I went to university, I went to two universities. So it should tell you what I hold a master's degree in international relations.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yes, people will say, I was in Ibadan, I was in Ife. So let me balance the equation so that the great Ife will not say, he doesn't want to identify the person. And Ife, I mean Ibadan, will say. So I was a student of Ibadan. I
Okay.
was a student of Bafemi University.
Great. All right, sir. So you studied international relations.
Yeah.
At what point did journalism come into play?
Ah, journalism came in so much early. So much early because my mother was a trader. And I do recall that when I was like 12 years old, it was mandatory for her. I was born in Ghana, so I'm not situated. It was mandatory for her. She used to go to Kumasi 2 times every week. She was a trader. Kumasi is the second major town in Ghana. It's the capital of the Ashanti region. We were born in Kufurudua, the eastern part of. But my father was a farmer. My father was everything. Cocoa merchant, trader. He used to sell because he had many children. So he had to.
I don't want us to go into the
Okay.
details. That's why I didn't ask.
No, if you ask, I'll tell you. Well,
Okay.
he had 35 children.
And you were number what?
I can't say. I mean, I'm in between, about the 20th thereabouts, from different women.
I get it.
Different women. So, but my mother's line, I'm the second born in my mother's line.
Line.
Yes, and she alone had 10 children. Her own was the largest of them all. She was the 10th.
She was a 10th
Yes, I've
wife.
never even looked at it.
That's why.
Yes, on this program, I have reminded myself, it never occurred to me before. She was the 10th wife and she had 10 children.
That's massive.
Well, she lived long. She was 94 before she died. That was about when I turned 70. She was at my 70th birthday. And she died about 1 year later. Perhaps she was waiting for my 70th birthday.
That's great. That's great.
So where was I before? I was trying to.
You're talking about your dad.
Yes, he was a very strong man. So if he were there when my mother fell into labor, he would have taken her to the hospital. And the priestess, she was a woman, had told my mother that this child is a child you'll be happy about. Your husband will have to to travel before you fall into labor. If he doesn't travel and is at home, you would she will take you, the wife, to the hospital straight. And in the process, they will want to do cesarean. And you know, in those days, today cesarean is no big
It's
deal,
not.
but in those days it was a big deal. So that was how father traveled. He was always moving out. He had cocoa farms in different vicinities and things like that. He would go and inspect. He came back and found out that the wife had delivered. So son called me Abidemi. To have so many names. So that Smollett was taken as a name because when I was in Ghana, I needed to have Ghanaians love English first names.
Okay.
They love it a lot. And I was in a very sensitive position. I was in the broadcasting house. I was in Nigeria. I needed to balance things up so that I'll be with them. Everybody will call Smollett. They will forget the situation easily. So that was a decoy one way or the other.
That's great. That's great. So we were talking about how you delved into journalism, even though you did study international relations.
Yes. When I got into television production, broadcasting, 1975. I had always wanted to read, but I couldn't read. At my school certificate, I passed, but I didn't get so much. Here was I, who the teachers had earmarked me for 4 distinctions out of 7 subjects. But I struggled like so those things that happened earlier, wanting Kokoto
Okay.
I could not break out completely. So they kept on stalling my progress, stalling it and stalling it. But I was determined. So when I decided to enter sixth form, three for 3 consecutive years, and I couldn't enter. Sixth form is what we call it's the same sixth form, advanced level. Advanced level, GC advanced level. You get that after school certificate. When I did try for 3 consecutive years and I couldn't get a school to take me on, I decided to write the exam myself. I didn't have anybody. I just got the books, and I registered in April. That same month, our first leader, our father's first son, died. He died at the age of 36, 1975. So that will not give you opportunity to read. We did everything. By May, I started reading. November, I was writing my exams and I passed my GCE, advanced level, 3 subjects. I passed. So it tells you the type of young lad I was when given the opportunity. I never thought of breaking my academics until I got to university. But I had to spend 8 years moving around. In the process, I became a broadcaster, and I have no regrets about that. So that is I didn't go to the school of journalism. In those days, you could come on board and then experience, but you will be taking courses here and there and here and there. But I didn't go to strictly school of journalism. But there is almost nothing a student of school of
Yes.
journalism knows that I don't know myself in a way because I am an avid reader.
Great. So while practicing journalism, what was your niche?
My what?
Your niche. Your niche. What drew your attention? What were you known for?
It is the listeners and the audience that can tell. I don't know because I was everywhere.
So you did politics, you
There
did
was
sports.
nothing I did not do on as a journalist. Reporting, politics, sports, normal news, everyday news reporting, documentaries, name it. There was nothing I did not lay my hands on. So I moved from time to time into different arenas. And so when I became a director of news, I was still one or two occasions I was handling the console because I trained also as an announcer, continuity announcer. We call them in those. So there is nothing anybody can. You can't do anybody for me in broadcast. It's not a question of boasting.
Yeah, I get
I have paid my dues. There's nothing. I'm a documentary writer. I write scripts. I do everything. I'm a book publisher. I have God has given me that talent and I have utilized them on all sphere. If you give me the chance to do documentary for you, you'll be glad. Even though the last time I did that must have been some 10 years back.
I think we will take your advice very, very soon. Now, let's before we digress a bit, let's look at journalism, or let's just look at broadcast journalism back then to what it is right about now. For a man that has gotten over 50 years of experience and still counting, you mentioned quite a number of things. I know those days listening to the radio, the factual time check, when you hear it's 12 o'clock or it's midday, you do need to check. When you hear news from those are more like they are creating sports. Do you want to compare this days broadcast journalism to what we used to have back then? And if there is difference, what brought that difference?
Yes, there are differences. Broadcasting is a profession. The way it is done in England, the way it is done in the United States, that's what makes it a profession. The way engineering is done in Nigeria must be the same way engineering is done in Canada. That's what makes it a profession. But circumstances have come to make Nigerians deviate a little bit from it. In every aspect of our national life, there have been deviations. So broadcasting or journalism is not an exception. In those days, it was mandatory for you to give time check if you're a continuity announcer every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes. Unless there's a production going on like this one is going on. But even then, the host will always tell listeners that this is Radio Agogo FM, etc. Because in those days it was one state, one radio station per state. Today you have them so many, yet you don't bother yourself to announce the time check, to announce the station. You can be on the radio station, you listen to them for 1 hour and you don't know which station it is. These things they need little bit of training. One advantage that the modern days have is that most of you are graduates. So at the level of the intellectual, you are deep. We went to broadcasting school, secondary school. In those days, it was secondary. You finish secondary school, you join if you have good pronunciation, etc. My bosses were not graduates. Only a few of them eventually became graduates. So they could not challenge you, but they had confidence. They had built-in confidence, and they were very exposed. Many of them went to BBC. So they knew what must be done. Today, you are there, you have computer, you are in the computer age, whatever it is you needed, you got it. When I was a sports editor, computer was not here then. I used to write things down. And when I sat on the sports desk and I was dishing out information, people tended to go, how did this man get all this? I had built my own library. You ask me Nations Cup from 1957 to present day, I'll tell you. You ask me World Cup from 1930 to this present day, I'll tell you. Olympic Games from 1986 to present day, I'll tell you. Because I needed to have such information. Many of you these days don't bother about that because you Google and then you are there, it gives you the answer. There was no Googling. There was nothing like that in those days. So we really needed to learn and commit ourselves into that knowledge. And as a young man, once that knowledge is there, it never faded away.
It's been an exhilarating time with my guest in the studio who has shared a whole lot of light and attention on some of the things that have been overlooked. And just to remind you quickly, My guest with me in the studio is Smollett Adetoyeshi Shitu Omokbenimola Alamu. So I did my best to pronounce it correctly this round. And he is a veteran. He is retired, but not tired. That's that. And we've been trying to do justice to this in the last 20 minutes or thereabouts. You mentioned sports. I'll be asking some questions about sports.
Yeah.
But first, I don't know if it's a story or it's a tale, but I don't know where to put it or if I would. How would you get to any Yoruba home and they talk about Thunder Balo?
Oh yeah.
And they will not tell you about the match where Nigeria played against India. And there was this bet that if Nigeria should win the game or if Nigeria should score a goal or something, and the match ended 99-1 that Thunder Balogun scored in that game, and it was because he scored out how he lost his life. A lot of persons still don't know Thunder Balogun. Can you shed more light on this? And I don't know if you have an idea about that story.
I don't have an idea, but I also a young man and Thunder. He was playing in the 1950s. 1950s. I had just been, I was a little boy, 10 years old, so I wouldn't have known much.
Okay.
But then, those things are not true. They are not true. The one that you can say was or is true is the Balu Tafin one of 1984. That one you can talk about. Thunder Balogun people were just cooking. They will tell you when he fires shots. So many things. But yes, those were not true. They were real taboo. Either to discourage younger boys from playing football, because my father used to tell us. My father had the wrong notion about Thunder Balogun that he was playing football and they hit him on the testes. And then, so you know those things. So he, African club champions. Yes. Yes, I was elderly person then. Although as at that material time, December, I was not in Ibadan. I had finished and was 7 my country as a youth corps then. The fact was that ICC must have seriously gone into all this. I don't want to mention you understand. So they had that inclination that they were going to win that match by hook or crook. And they had everybody on hand to be able to win the match. They had forced the Zamalek in their home country to a goalless draw. So all we needed was one single goal. And it didn't happen. The Muda Shilus of this world, the Czech Montegramis of this world, the best of Gateways of all of them, they won. And then the process, Zamalek beat us. That much I can talk a little about because we had somebody that was #1 supporter of Shooting Stars. We call him Babelena. You can people like that can go extra to want to do. So don't be on air. So don't let us say so much. But it was true. That was true. So they had a song, Balloon Tafio, Afio Rina Osao.
Let's leave that. We're still talking about some of the things happening in the sporting world.
Yeah.
The World Cup is going on currently, and we are in the semi-finals already.
Yeah.
We would have France facing Spain, while Argentina will be facing England.
Yeah.
There have been a whole lot of conversations surrounding the Argentines team. People have talked about so many things. They have been favored. There have been days. There is a FIFA favored player against them, and all of those things. What is your view of the World Cup so far?
Great expectation. Wonderful outputs. For the first time, 48 teams, 104 matches. That is spectacular. The World Cup started with 13 teams. It came to 16, came to 24, got to 32, and today it is 48 teams. You have to expect. And then scientifically, modern football has gone beyond what the Thunderbolts played. In fact, it has gone beyond what the Muda and Shegun Odegbami played. We are talking of how many years? 40 years, 44 years apart. I mean, the football Odegbami played, who is a close friend, the football Odegbami, Chairman Chukwu, the football they play is different from what is being played today. I am happy that in my write-ups, I predicted the four teams that will qualify for the semi-finals, and I got it right. I said the moment the third what's the name? Morocco against Spain, against France. I knew Morocco can go anywhere. So the four, I got them right. Is in my latest write-up, which came before the.
I'm sure some persons will be waiting for your predictions as well.
Yes. Oh yes. I mean, well, right now it is going to be very difficult predicting, but I will do if you ask me. I will predict if you ask me.
Okay.
So football today is more business. So that I don't forget the question.
The question.
Yes, there is always what I call the FIFA script. The FIFA script. Referees play to it. There is a reason for the FIFA script. I'm not saying authoritatively, but from my experiences in watching football, following it, FIFA or any organizer doesn't want the host country to leave early. When the host country leaves early, enthusiasm, then finance, the economic falls down. So they would always encourage the host country. Unfortunately, today we have three host countries. In those days, it used to be only one. So you have, and they did their best, but the host country can only perform to its own capability. No matter how shenanigans you do, if the team is not very strong, like Canada, they will beat them. Now, but when it comes to biases, yes, the FIFA will never tell you they indulge in biases, but they do. They don't want a team like Argentina to fall out too early. They wouldn't want a team like France to fall out too early. Even England, they would not want them to fall out too early. Because those are what I call the guardians of the game, the powerhouses. If you allow them, Germany falling out, FIFA wouldn't be naturally happy. Because those are the ones who are the guiding angels of the game. And so people pay to go and watch. The moment these ones are gone, the game has come falling short of in terms of standard. So FIFA does that through their referees. It's not a written rule, but you have to know that these things. Look, one of the points I raised in my latest write-up was the fact that Kylian Mbappe in the match against what do you call it? Their last match.
Morocco.
Yes, the ball hit him on the hand. It hit him on the which it was it he was in the penalty box of the Moroccans. He couldn't score the goal, they defended, but the ball hit him on the hand. You know what the referee did? Yeah, he decided that it should be a corner kick. Instead of it being a foul, so that they would take or a goal kick. So when you have these little biases and favors, if that goal, if the corner kick had resulted in the goal, it would have meant that Morocco, was cheated.
Taking advantage.
Yeah, so FIFA does all these things to make sure that the championships go. It happens every time. How many years ago? 1994. Yes, 1994 World Cup, the same United States.
US.
We were leading. Nigeria was leading Italy by one goal. Goal scored by Munich in the 6th minute. It took us to the 88th minute before Roberto Baggio slotted in the goal. What happened next in the extra time? Penalty against us, and we were knocked out. There was no VAR then. If FIFA were a team, a body that encouraged younger players coming up, they wouldn't have. The referee might not have done that. He might have overlooked it, but they won't do that. They find every opportunity to play the FIFA script that I talk of, and you can't blame them because it's all in the interest of the game to make the game come out very strong and make the finances also improve. So you don't blame them so much. It happens in CAF, it happens in CONCACAF. Everybody does it because you want it successful, what we can call a very much successful competition. So we shall live by that for many years to come.
Charlie Baila for many years to come. That is the word of my analyst. And from the studios of Google 107.5 FM, it is some 23 minutes before the hour of 12. And the program you're listening to is still Straight Points with my guest. We'll be back shortly after this break. And once we get back, we'll be discussing about the insecurity state of the nation at large. And also be talking about the successful release of the abducted students and teachers of the Owerri local government area in Oyo State, and also about the recent one. Someone else has been kidnapped this morning, and report shows the ransom fee requested for is over 30 million naira. These and many more are what we'll be discussing shortly after this break. Don't go nowhere.